Hello again and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have a 1v1 between Fealthas and Verdyh, Sir Verdyh, however you pronounce that name. These players are both very high skilled. Fealthas at the south is actually number 4 ranking in the dual leaderboard. So he is sandwiched between Teddy and Zlo in terms of ranking. Whereas Sir Verdyh is, although not currently in the leaderboard, his OS is a rank of 29, which puts him very high up and around the spot of around the top 15th player, top 16th player. So both these players here today are very high ranked, so it'll be interesting to see how these players play. Now, looking at the mechs points on this map, we have several underwater mechs, and but most are above land. All of them have a metal income of 1.9. As we come off of the metal overview here, we see on this map both start positions are the same. There are a few key locations on each side of the map where you need to contest in order to actually get out of your starting position, which, as we look on this bottom side here, this section is the low point between the middle island and the spawn island for Fealthas. And each side in the middle island, the north and south, has an additional 2 mexes. Both players now, as we zoom in, we can see that we're just going to call him Sir. Sir has gone bots for arm, whereas Fealthas has gone Cortex bots. Surprisingly, he's actually built a bunch of wind, even though wind is currently only at 2.9. That's a very low wind right now. He's still piling into the wind. Surprising. Whereas Sir is building at least 1 solar to kind of help him move forward. 2 solars, actually. And then we see the wind start kicking up now as well. So for those that aren't aware, obviously wind's cheaper in terms of metal cost, but they are obviously very much affected by energy produced from the wind speed. Also, they cost energy to produce, as we see here, 175 energy, whereas a solar collector uses 0 energy to produce, but costs a lot of metal. And we see Sir's Grunt coming out, Pawn versus, the Grunt of Fealthas, and the Grunt has more range, so as long as they're microed, the Pawn will never get into range. And it's all about that micro, and as we see here, the Grunt absolutely destroys the Pawn with no contest. Both players reaching their triple mech spots on their base. Fealthas using his commander to get the ocean mechs. Interesting thing to see the difference here is that Sir has already spammed out a bunch of pawns that's protecting his lake crossing, river crossing, whereas Fealthas has not even built a single other grunt yet. He's just going pure economy. So we'll see if that greediness is going to catch up to him. As we zoom back out here, we see eco-wise, Sir is really struggling for energy right now, but he is building a con tower. He also hasn't even left his base yet, whereas Fealthas has left his base quite a long time ago. That one grunt just gets absolutely massacred. And we see a radar going up here from Sir. So both players very similar in terms of eco covered so far in terms of metal points. The difference being that Fealthas hasn't got this southern mountain one, whereas Sir hasn't got the water one, but he is going for that right now. Sir has expanded more with engineers, whereas Fealthas has 5 engineers in base, building another one. He's now sending 2 to expand. He really needs to start cranking out some units. And Surprisingly, Sir not using these forces and boxing in Fealthas. Like, he's got so many there. Why keep them guarding your own, like, water crossing? Like, I would have expected him to at least, like, hold here. He could hold here, or even hold here to at least give him some warning when Fealthas is crossing the water. But now he's kind of just given up that territory for free. And it'll be interesting if we see any of the water used in this map for any sort of effect, being like amphibious, or are we going to see any like amphibious tanks, any hovers, any naval? We don't tend to, but I'll be interested to see if one of these players decides to make use of it. Here we see Fealthas not having much in the way of units, but transitioning very, very early on into thugs. And we do actually see a hovercraft factory coming out from Sir. He is going to use it to get the one additional max point probably to the north and south. But bear in mind, it is only 1.9. So invest in a whole factory just to get one max is not really a good investment. So he needs to make a good use of the hovercrafts to get some good flanking damage. Fealthas has kind of fought ahead and has at least one LLT here to cover the triple max point on his left side of the north flank of his. And the right side of the north flank, he's also building another LLT to guard it. So both of the north side parts are completely covered of his base. Sir is now about to see, oh damn, he has a lot of thugs coming out, and all I've got is pawns. So, wouldn't surprise me if he's going to start switching up, which, yep, you see, he already has. He's got some maces out. And he's going to start moving his comm forward, maybe? Yes. Now, this section here, well, it's a bit difficult to see. With a height map you can get by pressing F1, you can see that that bit is slightly raised for radar coverage. This is important. If he builds a radar up here, he'll be able to see a lot in the middle. But this wall does kind of block a lot of that off, and if we look at Sir's view right now, he is limited as to what he can see. Probably will get that thug, but he's gonna... yeah, he gets the thug, but loses 4 pawns for a single thug. Oh, the friendly fire actually kills out off the grunts. But he gets a brief idea of what's there. Meanwhile, we're about to see a swarm of 6 seekers. Maybe a little bit more. Is he going to wait? Yep, does look like he might wait. Maybe not. And Fealthas now making a move. I would say that he can get the pawns close enough that Sir does have a bit of an advantage here. Because they're just going to cause a lot of friendly fire if he gets between them, which he does. But unfortunately doesn't do quite enough damage. And these maces keep switching targets as well, which doesn't help. Oh, the rocket. The rate that Fealthas has the units coming out is quite substantial. His comms in a bit of an iffy spot. These scouts, I don't know if they're... Well, they're not scouts, but the seekers. They'll get some mechs damage, but that LLT is still going to probably wipe them all up with no worries. He'll die now for that, yep. Not really worth that. He gets 2 mexes. Big deal. Meanwhile, Fealthas got all of the reclaim from that fight. Question is, has Fealthas managed to recoup his costs, which he's probably got equal amount of units right now. A missile hovercraft coming out from Sir Verdyh. Will be interesting to see if Fealthas is going to respond to the naval aspect at all. He's going to get air, for example, to get some shurikens that will just EMP those units. Right now, he seems to be not really doing much on his front line, focusing on his base in some energy storage in case the wind dies down again. Both players playing it quite slowly here, a bit passive. We take this opportunity to quickly look at the stats. We can see that Fealthas is ahead by 1.5 metal and ahead in energy by a substantial amount here. However, he has wasted 14,000 as opposed to 2,000 energy, so not as far of a difference as expected. Now, one thing he is using here is keeping his commander on one side with the towers and stuff. So the enemy forces have to engage on the other side, otherwise they're worried about getting degunned. And also the fact that this is like a small gap here means that you can only bring so many of your forces to bear, because obviously these units can't shoot through each other. So being able to just form a single line is what's going to be helpful, because these units will just, doesn't matter how many you've got, they'll just shoot. So his unit advantage doesn't really do anything for him right now. Now these rockets are going to cause a bit of an issue, especially if he targets them specifically. He did ground fire them, and they get the mexes out. And we see Fealthas there queuing up a naval factory. Now, still going a bit slow here. No movement really in the middle. Sir's building up a substantial amount of units. I would expect like maybe a resbot here to, you know, just heal up the units. But no, nothing of the sort yet. These could also be used along the side here to hit the mace swarms, but nothing as of yet in that approach either. We see an air factory up for Sir, equaling 3 factories total at this point. Quite a high amount of factories to be running at the same time. While he is ahead on metal extractors because of this missile raid, the rocket bots here from Fealthas causing Sir some problems. So I said if he had a resbot here, he could at least heal this stuff up. And now here comes the push from Fealthas. The thugs march forward. No, chooses not to. Just kind of getting his rocket bots here to do the damage he needs. Pushing them in and out, doing a volley, then backing off so that the shots don't hit anything from the returning fire, that is. We see a bunch of riptides coming out from Fealthas here that will quickly mop up these missile hovercrafts. With no protection, these are going to sink very quickly, and there we go. This is now going to cause some problems for Sir. He has nothing that can really stop this, and he could just sit them off the coast here. And it's going to cause him some problems. Yep, there we go. All cleared up. Yep, he's going to use one of these boats here to sit alongside his units, which will just pound the shore. Sir knows that and decides now's the time to go in. There's a swarm of maces coming out from Sir right now. Unfortunately, they're not able to actually break through the southern side of the middle push here, but the north side does look like it did a substantial amount of damage. Resbot's now finally out on Sir's part. Actually going to be getting some of this metal reclaim, as Fealthas looks like he's kind of lounging around here, letting him get this reclaim. Commander in a iffy spot here with no units to support. There's a lot of stuff to walk into. He makes the mistake and goes kaput. So Fealthas wins that one pretty comfortably. Takes some eco damage, but not too much to worry about. Decides to switch out and hold the line and put all of his eco into boats, which ends up winning him the game. If you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.